All right, everybody, we are live. As you can tell, we are live again from a remote studio. Happen to be in Nashville, Tennessee, and just want to say hi to everybody. Hambone's in the house, Ray is in the house, and buckle up. Saturday, you just got interested. We're gonna break it all down for you. There was lots and lots of stuff that happened today. I'm your host, at Mike Hilly. With me, as always, my Wednesday show co-host, Bonzo1273 on Twitter. That's Mike Restano. And just giving some shout outs. We got Hambone, we got Ray, we got Mark Schoen, we got Mick the Dog. We got a bunch of people that are going to be tripling in. Mid's Plug is in the house as well. We are on hotel Wi-Fi as well. So if this gets a little dicey, we'll deal with it. Just like if we happen to be, uh, in the protocol, right? We'll have to make adjustments. No excuses. Mike, how's it going, man?
It's going. That's for sure. And not that it's their fault because obviously it's not. But I really feel like for the past 2 years, so it took 20 years to get competitive, and
Right.
then the past 2 years, it feels like just when there's a little excitement, you're just getting a little excited. Somebody comes along and just pulls the rug right out from under you. And it feels like just such a constant thing. It feels like every few weeks. And I mean, this one's tough, especially I was just there. We we dig deep. We're dominating and then we weren't. And I mean, that's typical Browns. Second half is always a picnic. But lo and behold, they win the game. And so now you're excited because their schedule is pretty difficult. Ours, you've got the Raiders coming up, and you got Green Bay, which is playing with house money there, and then you go to the Steelers, and you got the Bengals coming home. So I mean, at that point, you're thinking, I mean, not only is the playoffs in play, but so is the AFC North,
Yep.
and it's like you can't even get excited for more than a day or two, and it's always that way. Like it doesn't take you right to the end, right? Like a day before.
Mhm.
It's you're riding the high, and then boom,
Oh
it's
yeah,
the end.
that's how I felt like it was a complete gut punch today. Waking up, started getting the text messages to starting to flow in, and it just felt like the sky was falling, which leads me to believe. I mean, I have a hard time believing that 26% of our roster just all of a sudden test positive for COVID. It doesn't make sense to me.
You're feeling a little conspiracy, are you?
I don't know if it's conspiracy or if it's I think it's probably we've got a bad batch of tests.
You know what? I like that theory.
I think that's clearly what it is because even everybody, there's nobody out there being like, you know what, Wyatt Teller, Jedrick Wills, like we have COVID and it's been rough, or no, there's no like reports out that people aren't feeling well, right? It's just people tested positive, and it
Yeah.
seems like it's just out of the blue. So for me, I think that there is a batch of bad tests that went through Cleveland, and but think about it like this, man. Even if it's just like, okay, we tested everybody and everybody was negative 2 days in a row. So they can confirm it was false positives and that's what it is. It still threw us off. I mean, today's Wednesday. Today's an important practice day, right? To get sharpened up.
Had a
And
walkthrough.
we're not on the field practicing, right?
Yeah. I mean,
So I mean, and then tomorrow we won't, and then Friday we won't. So and then we play Saturday, right? So
yeah.
if nothing else, it has definitely thrown us off um, from the preparation standpoint,
Yeah.
and I think that's a tremendous disadvantage. Like this isn't Madden where you can just like, oh, we're simulating, we're playing a game in a vacuum. I mean, these are human beings, right? So it's just really frustrating that we have to consistently deal with bullshit left and right and left and right. It's like we land a big punch and then we get hit by like seven punches in a row,
Oh yeah,
right?
this one was you tried to duck out of the way of a Tyson uppercut, and he sent you through the ropes.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, man. For me, it was hey, we had miracles happen last year with rosters that were down and out because of COVID. So there's not really a reason that to be completely scared. I mean, we still have Miles, we still have Denzel, we still have JOK, right? So we still have the defense, which has been the anchor recently. They're still out there.
Well, so far,
Okay, right. So
and
it's
that,
you know what
but
it
yeah,
go
no,
ahead.
go ahead.
Yep.
No, no,
What
no, go ahead.
what does it say? It feels like when we have a big play, right? And then we're just holding our breath to see if there's a flag.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
has now followed us to post game. That we have to wait. Like, well, are they gonna throw a COVID flag at us every
Yeah,
day now?
I agree with you. And the worst part is, I mean, think of it this way. So you figure it was, I don't even remember what is today. Today is Wednesday.
Yep.
So it was yesterday. It feels like 7 years ago. But Forbes, Hooper, Landry, McKinley, Teller, and Wills go on the COVID list, and you're like, what is going on? And you just knew on a Tuesday. You knew when you have what was that six positive tests. When you knew that when that list came out, your first thought, and I'm sure a bunch of people in the chat as well, the first thought is, well, hell, it's only Tuesday. We got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to get the game day. And then sure enough, as the day is long, here comes the list today. Troy Hill, JJ the third, Baker, obviously the big one,
Yep.
McDowell, and Odenigbo. So it's like, come on. You just, you have to hope that your theory's right, and it's a bad test batch. But I think if it is, it has to be a bad batch across the league, because I think there were 75 players in the past 3 days or 2 days that have gone on the COVID list, which is astronomical. I know there's, and I can't remember offhand, but I think it's the Rams, the Washington football team, us, and I want to say there's one more, but I can't think of who it is, Mike. But are all in enhanced protocol, and here we are.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just, I think, and I don't want to get too long winded on this, but if you, and I tweeted this out earlier, and people must agree because I think it has over 400 and some likes at this point. But at one point, at some point in the off season, the NFL and the organization said, look, we want you guys to get vaccinated. They didn't push it, but they encouraged it, we'll say.
Mhm.
And a lot of guys went and they got they got the vaccine. There were some that were iffy, but they said, you know what, for the better of the team, I don't want to be the guy that causes any forfeits, etc. I'll get it. And full disclosure, I'm vaccinated. I have my booster shot. I've got asthma. The thought of, God forbid, having a respiratory thing frightens me. So I opted to get vaccinated.
Mhm.
Now, being said, so these guys go out and they get vaccinated because they wanted to, or because maybe they were pushed a little bit, right? Not saying they were fully pushed, but there was some, nudging, if you will.
Mhm.
So these guys get vaccinated. I think we're like 99% vaccinated on our team. Now, also, so the guys
Remember, it was a competitive advantage. Remember that the
correct,
Baker statement.
correct. So they have a 99% vaccination percentage across the locker room,
Right.
and now arguably one of the biggest games in recent years, right? Coming up on Saturday. And now all of a sudden, all these guys that got vaccinated are asymptomatic and they test positive and now they can't play. To me, it makes no sense.
Here's the thing, man. I'll let you finish your thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I mean, and there was just Ryan Burlow just said in this video, Stefanski even had a booster and he has it again. I mean, this is the second time he's had it. That from what I understand, and again, I'm not a medical expert by any means, but
Did you stay? Are you at a Holiday Inn though?
I am in a Moxie, which is a bougie type.
All right. So yeah, no.
Marriott.
So you're not a doctor. Go
I'm
on.
not a doctor. But I will tell you from the things I've seen, and I look at it on both sides. So just for everybody out there, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm nothing like that. But I will tell you the thing that, I mean, unless you are just closing your eyes and not looking at this, the fact that we have guys that are vaccinated, boosted, and they're still getting it leads me to believe one of two things. Either they are getting vaccinated and it's working. However, it's working against the coronavirus that they're being vaccinated against, and the tests are, from what I understand, with these PCR tests, and even the least accurate rapid result tests, they don't have the ability to tell the difference between the common cold, the various flu strands, and COVID, and the various variants of COVID-19. And my wife was in the hospital with COVID. My son has had COVID as well. Like, we have had that. And when I was in the hospital with my wife, I asked, "Can you tell like what she has?" And they're like, "No, we can't. We don't know if it's a variant. We don't know what that is. The PCR tests just tell us if a coronavirus is present, like in the body. The common cold is a coronavirus. The flu
Yeah,
is a
the flu.
coronavirus, right?" So, and from what I understand, I would love to know the numbers. Hey, Dad, I would like to know the numbers of how many people get the
Okay.
flu 2 years in a row. I think that's tremendously rare for people to get the flu 2 years in a row. So let's say that Stefanski he gets, but you can get the cold every year. It's almost like they would call it flu season, cold season, right? That's what they sold NyQuil based off of commercials for NyQuil. It was like, it's cold season, cold and flu season. Let's get your NyQuil, get ready for it. So I think that it's either the tests were incorrect, right? Meaning that they have something, but it's not COVID-19, or it's a bad batch of tests and they're testing false positives, and they're saying it's they're saying it's COVID, but it's not. It's a faulty test. And there have been reports where people were testing any fluid that they had. They were testing strawberries in their refrigerator that were coming back positive for COVID. So could it be that they're asymptomatic? Possibly. But how many players is that now? 14, Mike?
Yeah, I think it's up to 14.
14 players?
And they
I mean,
came off the bye week, so I mean that. But it's with all with everything being said, I just don't think that, and this sort of goes along with your point.
right.
Originally, the vaccine was gonna stop the spread, and it was going to eliminate the severity. And
Right.
then, and I get it, nothing is definitive sometimes. And then they came out and said, no, they actually, with all the variants, et cetera, you could still spread it. However, the severity of, the outcome, should you get it,
Mhm.
you will fare better if you're vaccinated. Okay. So with that being said, you look at the flu. right?
Right.
Some people opt to get the flu shot, some don't. I get it for medical reasons, but it's not guaranteeing that you're not going to get the flu, right? And people die of the flu all the time, and I get it. I lost folks to COVID, so I get it. I understand it. But the point that I'm getting at is that this is not going away,
Right.
right? It's not going away. This is going to be just like the flu, except, and who knows, because there's going to be a variant after a variant after a variant. So it might get deadlier, it may not, who knows. But the point is that right now, it's not going away.
Right.
So if you're going to encourage these guys, just from a football standpoint, if you're going to encourage these guys to get vaccinated and they do so, and then they have no symptoms, but they're testing positive, and now you're telling them they can't play, what is it? Like that can't be. 2 negative tests within 48 hours or whatever it is, 24 hours. Like, they don't have symptoms. And I get it. You could still spread it. But look, if we're still worrying about this next year in terms of the spread, even with the asymptomatic, and vaccinated, don't play then. You know what I mean? And that's tough for me to say, but I spend a lot of money on the Browns. There's 70 some thousand people in a stadium that spend a lot of money, and that's not even talking about the people that aren't fortunate enough to go to the games on a regular basis and live paycheck to paycheck, and they really want that hat or they want that jersey, and they got to come out of pocket for that, and splurge, if you will.
Mhm.
And I don't think that it's fair to those people that this is okay, right? Like, you can't, and Roger Goodell doesn't care, right? Goodell doesn't care because
He's making
Goodell
he's
already made
making
the TV money.
he's making
He already
he,
made the ticket money, right? It
exactly.
doesn't matter to him. And to me, that's just another notch in his incompetence, right? That he's so out of touch and he's incompetent. And if he can't see why, at the very least, this game should be moved, then it's a kick in the face to the people that spend the money to buy the tickets, to buy the merch,
Right.
and it goes beyond the actual game itself in terms of the players not being able to play,
Mhm.
etc. Because if it wasn't for me and everybody in the chat and you and everybody out there that's listening, hopefully that's plentiful, but everybody that's listening, that's a kick in the face to you, because we're the ones that pay these guys salary. Roger Goodell makes millions of dollars because I have a friggin' merch problem, right?
Tens of
There,
millions.
yeah, there's people that go to AA for alcohol. I need to go to AA for all this shit, right? And so I've been steaming about this all day, so that's why I just went on a little soapbox here. But it's not right, and that's sort of where I'm at on it.
Yeah. You know what? I don't disagree with you, and I think that, I'm trying to put my league hat on for a second to go, okay, why would they do what they're doing? Why would they allow games to continue playing? You know, I think probably, God forbid, there was a player who contracted COVID and died, and they could come back and they could be sued and say, you know what, you guys put no safety measures in place for us, and we had the worst of the worst scenario that happened because of it, and blah. So, but I mean, again, I think you could go out there and say, okay, guys, why not allow players like they did last year and say, okay, well, if you feel uncomfortable, or if you don't feel like, if you don't feel safe, then you have the ability to sit out a year, and then if the league could actually look at each situation and say, hey, look, There's too much. There's too much that is impacting the spirit of competition for this particular game, and the Browns followed the rules. The players got the vaccine. Players did what were asked to be done, and this still happened. Well, in that particular case, you know what? We're gonna move the game to another time. And even if the Browns have to play 2 games in 1 week, I'd rather have the full roster of the Browns playing on Wednesday and then coming back and playing on Sunday.
Well, and to your point, and if you think about this for a second, this is all money and worrying about the TV deal, etc. I mean, let's look at the NHL, right? The NHL doesn't even make a quarter of what the NFL makes, right? Doesn't even make a quarter of what the NFL makes. The Islanders had an outbreak, right? They shut the Islanders down for a week. The Blackhawks just had an outbreak. They shut the Blackhawks down for a week. You look at the Bulls, they share I think they share the facility with the Blackhawks. There's some type of interconnection, but the Bulls are off. They're not playing games. And you're talking about leagues where, hockey, for instance, there's 82 games. So there's games. I mean, sometimes these guys play 3 games a week, right? So when you look at the NFL, I mean, they play 1 game a week. So you could technically move a game 3 days out. Instead of Saturday, it's Monday or it's Tuesday. But the NFL is worried about the logistics of the TV and getting the people there and so on and so forth. And so that it gets aggravating because you say to yourself, do they really care about us as fans? Right? Are we suckers? Am I a sucker for going to the front door to get my Cleveland Browns ornament that I ordered the other day? Right?
Yeah. You're not, but yes, they feel like that. Hey, Larry, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Yeah. $20 super chat that came in from Larry. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yes, hopefully we'll have a victory Sunday.
Hope so.
Hopefully, but I very much appreciate that. Thank you very much, Larry. I really don't think that the NFL gives 2 shits about the fans.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I don't think that they really do. And it's probably on their priority list. They're probably out of the top 10, maybe they're somewhere in the top 10. But probably not very high. Because they don't have to. And I'm sorry for the shaking, guys. My makeshift studio is now it's literally on a tray. I'm staying at a Moxie hotel. There's no desk in this hotel room. It is on a tray. Hey, new subscriber, Eric. How's it going, man? I don't know, guys. If I were to say, I felt like for a while that the NFL didn't really care about the fan base. And then what they have to do once they make big mistakes, they piss off a big amount of people, then they double down, and we have a whole month of like military appreciation. It's like, oh, we did something wrong. Now we have to react to that, and we have to overreact to it to make it seem like everybody cared. We're all going to wear camo for a month. It's just so. The people running the front office, and I have met people who have worked for the NFL. I've met people that have worked for the league in the home office in New York City. Not very impressive, I'll tell you. Not the most impressive people. You'd think you'd be like, oh, they have the brightest people in the world. They got all the no, not really. They're everyday people, and they live in a bubble, and they're making decisions. And ultimately, like you said, if as long as the money's still flowing in for those TV contracts, they could care less.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Already got the money.
It doesn't impact them, right?
Nope.
And then you go back to the double standard. Whereas if the Ravens. Remember last year with the Ravens, everybody's bringing this. They had a couple of people that were on the COVID list. We're gonna push that game out
3 times.
It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And then you get into it, and you're like, well, why would they do that? Why are the Ravens special, but the Browns aren't. And
Well,
and
then,
you have to go back to, like, you have, in those cases you have to follow the money. The
oh
money
yeah,
is the reason why they're making these decisions. That is the number one thing. And I got to tell you, I do not understand why the Ravens are a higher priority to this league than any other team. Now, let me also preface this as well, because Ken Carman tweeted out that he's like, this game isn't going to get moved. Last year, the Broncos started a wide receiver at quarterback, and they still played the game. That's a different scenario. They did not follow the rules, the protocol they put in place, and they were essentially punished for doing that.
hey, something just came across on my phone. Amid a recent wave of positive COVID-19 tests, the NFL chief medical officer, so this is the NFL's chief medical officer, says most of these positive tests came from asymptomatic people. Think about
Well,
that for a second. So,
so then, what are they trying to protect against? They're trying to protect against a spread of mostly asymptomatic people. I don't understand it. HNT, what's going on? I do not understand it. Like, if they're asymptomatic, now, trust me, guys. Like, I have personally experienced COVID 2 times in my immediate family. My wife had it, was hospitalized, had pneumonia, had all the stuff, is still dealing with the consequences of it. And my son, my 11-year-old son, had it as well. So I've had it in my home 2 times, and I've seen two extremes. My son dealt with it, played Minecraft for a week, and basically was fine the vast majority of the time. He was 90% of his normal self. My wife was the sickest I've seen her in my entire life. I've known her, and she just had a fever of 101, 102 for basically 2 weeks straight, and only broke the fever once or twice, and then it came right back, and then finally got pneumonia, and we had to take her to the ER, and she was admitted. She stayed in the hospital for over a week, came home with an oxygen tank, and yada yada. So I understand the severity of this. I don't mean to discount it, and I know that people have passed away from it. Like, I understand it, right? But I am telling you this. I think the way that this league is handling it, I think the way that everybody's turning their brain off, and instead of thinking about it, they're just knee-jerk reaction going, okay, test positive, you're out, and 20. What happens if 14 or 15 more people test positive, Mike? What if we don't have enough players to field the team? Then
and
would the league, postpone
well,
the game?
the other thing that I found interesting was, and I didn't realize it until I saw a couple people talking about it, and I looked it up. But the only way, so the whole thing about the forfeiting was going on, around social media, that team could have to forfeit, etc. But in fact, the only way that you would be forced into a forfeit situation is if the majority of the players that were causing you to be down personnel were unvaccinated. So where is the flip side of the vaccinated? So you have the, oh man, if you're not vaccinated and you guys are are screwing up, and Bonzo's made an appearance, and
Dog check.
that is a dog check, and they're causing your team to not be able to field 22 guys, then sorry, you're gonna have to forfeit. Well, okay. Well, what about the other side of the coin? Did we just forget that? Like, what happens if the vaccinated have no symptoms and they test positive? What, you're just shit out of luck? So
What's the protocol?
Correct.
What is the protocol?
Right. We pushed you to get it.
Yeah. Are we getting replacement players?
Right.
Like,
I mean,
what at what level is it acceptable for you to violate the spirit of competition in your league for the purpose of putting a game on television?
Yeah. Hey, look, if
Real quick before you
yeah,
get to that point, Larry Kirk come through again.
nice.
Mike and Bonzo, I can get tickets to the Ravens Browns next year. Will you make the trip, Mike? Crab cakes on me, fellas.
Oh boy.
It's possible, Larry. Let's. I'm not saying. I'll tell you this. I'm not saying no. If you can get tickets, maybe we'll talk about it. My dad went a couple years ago to Baltimore to the Ravens game. And that was the year that Chubb broke off that like 80-yard run, and we got the dub. So it's very possible. But thank you for the super chat, Larry. Appreciate it. I I just don't understand. Like, what is? I'm sure the league did not have a contingency plan around this many players getting COVID. Because at this point we're treading on a very fine line of, do we even have enough players to actually field the team? Like, do we have enough players that can go out there and do their job? Um, what's the breaking point? And I think it's a fair question to ask, right? Like, what is the breaking point that they will say, okay, do we just forfeit?
Right.
Is that fair to you have a team, you have a bunch of players that also have contracts. The contracts are set up with incentives that say make playoffs, get MVP awards, get blah blah blah, make the Pro Bowl. And if you miss a game because you don't get those stats from the game, you lose a rushing title. I mean, there's so many things that could go into it that aren't fair. And this isn't like an injury that would happen. Right? An injury happens, I understand. And could you have 14 players that you lose to injury? Sure. That could exist. Right? But there's a difference between being injured in practice or being injured on the field and having a asymptomatic positive test for something with a survival rate that directly mirrors the seasonal flu. I saw on TikTok a guy put it all into perspective, and it was a really good video. And he had a bucket of pennies, and he dumped a giant bucket of pennies that represented the billions of people on the planet. Then he took that and he whittled it down to, okay, here's 10%. He had a smaller bucket. This is 10% of the population. Then he whittled it down to 1% of the population, which was, just a couple of pennies. Then he whittled it down to the amount of people in the world globally that have died as it related to COVID. And he had this many pennies. And then he looked at, out of those many pennies, how many of them were under the age of 70. And it was like 1 penny. And he's like, we have shut down our entire world. We have allowed this to happen over this many people dying. When if you look at you put the same logic towards anything, there are more people that are dying every year from tobacco use, alcohol, driving their car, getting into car accidents, and we don't shut down the freaking planet for that. But for something that's a disease that you can get over as simple as you can get over the flu or even the common cold, we're gonna lose our mind over that, and we're gonna destroy the economies of the world. We're gonna destroy businesses over that. And here's the reason why I'm telling you this, guys. I live in Florida, and I'm up here in Nashville, Tennessee, and we had to go through. Nashville's actually a pretty decent. Tennessee's a pretty decent state.
That's why that guitar's behind him. You guys were thinking that Mike plays Summer of '69 after we get off the show, but.
Well, I wouldn't have like some cheap ass Yamaha if I actually had a guitar, right? My Martin is at home crying itself right now, knowing that I'm going to be cheating on it tonight.
Knowing that you're sleeping with that.
Yeah. So, when you live in Florida and you go through your life and you're not wearing masks and you have some of the lowest COVID rates in the country, and people have the ability to get vaccinated if they want to. They cannot get vaccinated if they don't want to. I mean, it is normal life. It's normal life. And it's great. And it feels amazing. right? And then you come up, then you get into an airport, and then it's like you can tell it's fear everywhere. Everybody's afraid. Everybody's got their mask on. Everybody's doing all this crazy stuff. You get into the airplane. Everybody's wearing a mask in the airplane. All this doing stuff. And then the people that they're eating food, and then well, no mask for eating food, because everybody knows you can't get COVID while you're consuming food, right?
Isn't that so?
Mike DeSantis for governor. Very good.
So that always made me laugh, and like I never like if you and I'm a mask wearer, but if if something is mandatory, like so everybody has to wear the mask,
right?
Let's say on the plane, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to stop the spread. However, if you got Chick-fil-A while you were on your layover, shit, don't worry about it. Bring it on a plane. Just pull your mask down. As long as you're actively eating or actively drinking, it doesn't matter. Well, I mean, what the hell? What do you mean it don't matter? Like, isn't that defeating the whole purpose? So it is. It seems like you can't have caveats to some things that really shouldn't have.
Like you shouldn't question.
Caveat.
You shouldn't question the science. The science is there. You're questioning the science. I got to tell you though. Here's the weird thing. If you come down to Florida and if you live there, you will quickly go from like I think a lot of the mask stuff and even the vaccine stuff is because in whatever small culture and community that you happen to be in is you see that. So a lot of people are mimicking what they're seeing. And when you don't see it, it's out of sight, out of mind. And you just go on with your normal life. You really do. And it's like when people in Florida, at least where I am, it's stranger to see somebody in public with a mask on, and you're almost shaming people for wearing them in public in Florida than the opposite. Whereas you go to other places, and if you're not wearing a mask, people are looking at you like, "Oh, you're the reason why there's a pandemic." But in Florida, it's the other way, and it's not. It just comes down to like, look, if you want to get vaccinated, I'm not against it. Like, get it. If you feel like that's safe for you to do, everybody's different. Get it. I'm not against you doing it. But if you're gonna work for a league that is functionally requiring you to get it without having any data into the long-term effects of it or even really being transparent about the short-term side effects to it. Look at soccer leagues. Soccer leagues, they have guys that are collapsing on the field, which has never happened. These soccer players are some of the best, the most endurance players in any possible sport. Yet you're having guys that are collapsing on the field with heart issues. You've got issues of myocarditis that are through the roof, that are things that are off the charts from a data perspective, and they're saying go out and get it. Just everybody just be part of the experiment. And for people who have had heart issues or that's in their family, it's absolutely insane for me. For me, I'm never going to get it. I'm absolutely never going to get it. If they came out and said it is 100% safe, there are no side effects, and you cannot, just like the measles, mumps, all that stuff, it is an actual vaccine that has been proven with data for X amount of time, then you'll be fine. There's not side effects to it. You're good, and you can't get it, and we can all go back to normal. Okay, I think about that. But for this, it's like they don't know. They told us that it's safe. They told us that you can't get it. They told us that you can't get hospitalized. All of those things are absolutely false. They're absolutely false. And then on top of it, big pharmaceutical companies are making billions and billions of dollars. And then they're going to say, okay, Mike, so you just got this boosted vaccine. You're going to have to get another boosted vaccine in a couple months. So then my question is, let's say that I all of a sudden decide, you know what, I now believe that I want to take the vaccine. Right? Even though we know that the first two vaccine shots that people got aren't effective because people kept getting COVID after that. Now we have different variants that come out. So can I just jump ahead of line and get the boosted one that's supposed to protect against the Omicron or whatever the next one that comes out? No, I have to go back and get the first two that were ineffective. Then I have to get boosted again for another thing that clearly is ineffective. So when does it end? And then what is it that it's actually doing?
Well, and I will say, as somebody that has the two and the booster, is, I mean, that's a question on my mind. I'll be totally honest with you. Is, you know, how long does this have to go on for, right? You know, and I get the flu shot every year to limit because of my respiratory issues and whatnot. And so, you know, I got the booster and I was sick as a dog at 102 fever and
yeah, I remember. I remember you were struggling with that.
Yeah, and the sweats like I've never had. And you know, it makes you think sometimes, like, hey, you know, how many more times do I have to go through this? You know, I'm in good health. I work out daily, etc. But you know, it is what it is. I had to do it, but to that point.
So let's talk about that. Let's unpack that for a second. How many more times are you willing to do it?
Well, that's the thing too.
So what if they say, Mike, we have a new one that just came out, the fourth shot, and this one's going to be the one that's going to make you good. Would you take it?
Well, I mean, at this point, I've taken 3, so I mean, why the hell not take the 4th? You know what I mean?
And then when they come out with the fourth,
that's where we're going.
And they come out with the fourth, and they go, you know what? Sorry, there's another variant, and we got to protect you against that too. So it's going to be a 5th. And again, like, at what point does everybody just say, enough? You've injected me with enough shit, and it's not working.
I think from the standpoint of, if it was a yearly thing, right, for me, like the flu shot, like, oh, you know what, it's you know, it helps protect you or whatever, keeps you from, you know, having to be hospitalized or whatnot, you know, okay. I get my flu shot on Tuesday. I'll get my, you know, my corona shot on, you know, Saturday. But the every 6 months kind of thing, I don't, slowly, I will not feel comfortable with that, right? I get the yearly thing, but you know, I don't know. I'm tired of it all, to be honest with you.
At some point, like, the insanity has to end. And it's like, what people are just stopping to realize is, it's like they are making billions, and they're making billions off of all of us that continue to take this bullshit, and it's not helping. Like, if they would have said, okay, after this third one, it's gonna make it so you can't get it. We've finally figured it out. Oopsie for the first 2, we got it on the third. But then as soon as the third came out, then the CEOs of the pharmaceutical companies are going, you got to take a fourth now. We got to take a fourth. And at what point is it going to be, you know, it's never ending. It just is every quarter. Every 3 months, you have to continue. You get reboosted. And by the way, every time you get reboosted, it doesn't actually protect against anything. At what point does it have to end? To me, it's craziness. And I think the league is, God forbid somebody has a side effect to this stuff. God forbid somebody actually starts having these cardiac events, and it kills somebody. You saw what happened to Demaryius Thomas. Nobody knows what was going on with that. They didn't say, like, there's no report saying what actually happened with him.
Oh, you know, he had a seizure. He had a history of them.
Okay, but again, like, who knows? Who knows how these things are related?
I don't know if anything was related or not.
Well, and again, it's like, well, how often are seizures killing people? Like, I know that people who have, like, you know.
Well, in his case, they said that he had it in the shower and he hit his head. Yeah, it's a shame.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think that there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. And I think it's criminal that this league is requiring people to take the vaccine, and then it's not doing anything. And then on top of it, they're going to still force the games to happen.
Yeah,
And
and I
I
think
just don't understand. Like, no matter where anybody is on the spectrum of how you feel about vaccines, or about this, it's literally just this vaccine, by the way. I'm vaccinated for all the other stuff. My kids are vaccinated for all the other stuff. It's just this one. And wherever you stand on that is is fine. But then you look at it and go, oh yeah, but 26% of your roster is going to be out. You're in the middle of a playoff hunt. You just fought tooth and nail to get to where this point is. You have a very big AFC game that has playoff consequences on the line. Guess what? Sorry, you're going to play.
yeah, no, I mean you can't to circle it all back.
Yeah.
You just you can't you can't encourage people to do it, and then there's no, and I don't want to say reward, but I mean it sort of is, right? I mean you go and you get vaccinated to help. You can't even say contain the spread because it spreads. So
Yep.
you're just getting vaccinated for, like me. I'm not getting vaccinated because I'm trying not to spread it around. I'm just getting vaccinated so I don't have an asthma attack and die, God forbid, if I get a severe case of COVID.
Right.
So you can't even at this point, NFL wise, say, hey, we're trying to, vaccinate you and want you to be vaccinated so you don't pass it to your fellow players. That's over. That horse has already left the barn. So the only thing left is the fact that it cuts down on the severity of the symptoms and hospitalization and all that good stuff. But so then at that point, with that being said, we already know, right? We already know that the vaccine, I mean, they've told us the vaccine does not stop the spread of it, right? It just does what I said it does.
Right.
So then what are we doing here? So now the only thing that I could think of, right?
Yeah.
That somewhere along the line, and I get it, the NFLPA probably in the negotiations or whatnot had to also side in the corner of the unvaccinated players, right? So the only thing that I could think of is that the reason why they just don't say screw it, right? And just don't let them play is because of the chance of, God forbid, what if they give it to one of the unvaccinated players? And then, like you said earlier, somebody, God forbid, drops dead on the field or gets sick and dies, severe case or whatever.
Yeah.
Now what? So, but to my point earlier, you need to be able to, you have to have it both ways. Like you can't just have it, hey, if you're not vaccinated, if the majority of your guys aren't vaccinated, you're going to have to forfeit, but then don't have an alternate if, you have your vaccinated guys and they have no symptoms, right? I mean, we applauded Michael Jordan for playing with the flu, right?
Yeah. The
Fired
flu,
him up with fluids and whatever.
They literally celebrate that as the flu game, and nobody had a problem with it.
Correct. So,
well, because it's just the flu. Well, it's the same shit.
And I get it. It's the flu is the flu at this point, where I'm sure, when we're dead and gone, there's going to be a COVID game, right? Where a guy had 103 fever and whatever, but he gutted through and he took his team to the championship. But, it is what it is. I mean, we could cry about it all day long. That's not fair. But, I know they were meeting at the winter meetings today, and they were talking about, one negative test as opposed to two negative tests. I mean, that would be a start.
They're just making this shit up as they go.
Well, yeah,
They have no idea.
Well, they said they were going to consult with the medical professionals, but I mean, who?
Hey, like you were saying, if you're vaccinated and you can still spread it and you're asymptomatic, just let them play. Let them play.
That's the way I look at
And
it.
then look at it on top of that and go go to the players and say, hey guys, like you play a sport where you're in close contact with other people, right? Guess what? The vast majority of the world does a job where they're in close contact with. It's what you sign up to do. It's life. People get sick. People get the flu. This isn't. If it was Ebola where you're bleeding out of your eyeballs and dying a slow, painful death, then I get it. This is something that in America, at this point, at least here in America, we have the medical professionals that should be able to stop it. My wife went through it. When I put her in the hospital, I felt really confident everything's gonna be fine, and she recovered. Now I know not everybody does, but not everybody recovers from pneumonia. Like pneumonia is a scary thing. COVID can be a scary thing, but you can't shut down the freaking world because of it. And if you're going to do this, if you're going to make some arbitrary rules that are going to say, well, you can do this, you can't do this, now we're going to adjust it because we're going to react to whatever the flavor of the thing that happened today. Well, guess what? You're going to piss people off. There's no way to do it. You have to be transparent. You have to be black and white. You have to make a decision and stick with it. And I just think it's bullshit that they can sit there and say, well, this team, you get to postpone your game. But this team, you don't get to postpone your game.
Yeah, no,
it does not make sense to me.
I agree. Now, the one thing I will say, it's a two-parter. Part one, Case Keenum was pretty funny today. I don't know if you heard it, what he said, or if anybody in the chat heard what he said, but he said they asked him if he was excited about, having Chubb in the backfield. And he said, anytime you have a full Chubb in the backfield, it's really good for us. So I'm ad-libbing a little bit. So I thought that was pretty funny. And then and again, I mean, it's only Wednesday, which
we might not
fall. This is the greatest day of the week for obvious reasons. But as of now, there is a 90% chance of very cold rain on Saturday and a steady diet of it. So that could be very helpful. Like I would take our chances in a mud bowl. But at the
with who's going to play offensive line for us?
So if you had to put a gun to my head right now and say, I need to know
who's starting on offensive
who's starting or else.
Batonio, Treader.
It's going to be so you've got Treader, Batonio on one side. You're probably going to have Dunn on the other side. And then you will have, well, here's where it gets interesting. Because Hudson played great last week. Hudson gave up no pressures last week. And I don't know what his PFF stats were, but what I can tell you is he played really well.
Okay.
So my question is, they have seen a vast improvement in him, so much so that they started him at right tackle over Hance. I always get that wrong. And he played lights out. So then are you looking at Hudson over on the left side and Hance on the right side? But anyway, either way, it's going to be a combination of Treader, Batonio, Dunn definitely, and Hance and Hudson. Now, with that being said, again, it's Wednesday. So that also depends on what Thursday and Friday bring. I do know they claimed a kid off of waivers from New Orleans, Josiah Bronson, a defensive tackle, rookie from Washington, 6'3", 300 pounds. So I'm assuming that move is, losing Malik McDowell and I guess also as a security, just in case, we lose anybody else on the defensive line. That, as of right now, as you hear me knocking on wood, and I'm not going to say it, but I'm just going to say one thing. The only thing right now that keeps me in the positive is the fact that obviously we lost JJ to third, but we've got some depth on the defensive side of the ball, and so far, that's all I'm going to say. So we'll see how the week progresses, but that's the key. If we can keep the defense healthy, and then if you get a rain game where it's just a heavy wet rain,
yep,
it's going to make it miserable for Derek Carr. We don't know if Waller's playing. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's not. So your big threat is Hunter Renfrow, and then you got Jacobs in the backfield, and I mean he gets hurt at the drop of a hat. So I think it's going to come down to whether this offense can score points or not, and it's all gonna stem from that offensive line. But hey, I doubt it, but for all we know, one of the offensive linemen can get the negative. Two parts. They could get the 2 negative tests and play on Saturday, or the NFL was talking about today, looking into it. Some say that it could be this week that they change it to the 1 test. And then, who knows? Then maybe you get half of them back, or you get 3 of them back. 1 back would be super.
Yeah.
And I know you got a point to make. The other thing I wanted to say, I don't know if you saw it today, because I know you were busy, but Njoku is out of protocol, so he's good.
Well, that's good. That's positive news. And the point that I was going to make was, Keenum is a very capable backup. We talked about this before. He's earning his millions. I'd much rather have Keenum than have some unproven, complete, guesswork at quarterback coming in off the street. Basically, we've had those. We've had the Thad Lewis games. We've had the Bruce Gronkowski games. We've had these guys that we just picked up off the street and said, go in there and do it. Case Keenum is a guy that has been on the team for, going into his second year. Obviously, he understands Stefanski's offense. He's got good control of the offense. Is he a lights out player? No, but he's a very competent back.
Well, think about this: the people that have been crying for Case Keenum and why can't I think of the quarterback's coach or the offensive coordinator's name?
Van Pelt.
Van Pelt to call the plays and him to play quarterback. So unless barring a miracle, they're going to get their wish. And I would have rather had it stay the same, but we'll see.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, we won a playoff game without our head coach.
Yeah, and without Joel Bitonio.
Without Bitonio, without a playoff, we won a playoff game.
Yeah,
this isn't a way.
Home game.
This is a home game. This is a game where and the Raiders are coming off an absolute brutal loss.
Oh yeah, what are they? 1-5 in their last 6.
Yeah, ever since Gruden's gone, I mean, they have collapsed.
Yeah, they got lucky and beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving on that Carlson kick, but yeah. I mean, other than that, I mean, they were going blow to blow, and then they've been terrible since.
Yeah, so I think we are clearly a better team. The fact that we just beat the Ravens, with or without Lamar, I think we were still playing pretty darn good, even when we had Lamar, right? When he was in there, and who knows what's going to happen? These things. I mean, he might have led him back to win it, but we beat the Ravens, and now we have a chance to go up against the Raiders. Now the Raiders are a dangerous team, though. I mean, the Derek Carr is a dangerous player. Whether anybody wants to admit it or not, he is one heck of a capable quarterback in the NFL. He's in that same group of quarterbacks that you put like Kirk Cousins and Ryan Tannehill and guys like that aren't elite, but can be very dangerous. When things are going good, they are incredible. When things are going average, I feel like they're below average. Right? It's
Yeah.
either like it's feast or famine with those guys, but they're very capable veteran players. If Derek Carr doesn't have his full set of weapons like the tight end, that's better. That's better for us. But and our defense has been playing good recently. Our defense has been playing really well. So Mike, like you were saying, if we have a wet game where the defense can shine and it doesn't allow Derek Carr to throw the ball all around, all over on us and go deep, over top of the safeties, well, you know, maybe we still do have a shot. Regardless, it's going to be
Um,
interesting. It's going to be an interesting
yeah.
game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, obviously they have Jacobs and Kenyon Drake's on the IR. So, second on the depth charts, Jalen Richard, and nothing frightening about him. You got Renfro and Deshaun Jackson pretty much. Brian Edwards is pretty decent, but he's not going to scare you. And Waller didn't practice today. He still has that lower leg knee injury. It'll be interesting to see if he practices tomorrow. He's questionable. I don't think he's going to go, and if he does go, he's going to be, a shell of his former self, which I think bodes well for us. And I mean, their line's okay. I mean, there's nobody. I mean, Alex Leatherwood is probably their best guy on the line, and I mean, they got some good players on defense. They've got Morig and Abram in the back end, and Max Crosby and um, Carl's out there, but he's questionable. NASA, see if he practiced. Nothing on him. So
Right.
yeah, I mean they're a 6-7 team. They're coming from Las Vegas to us in 40-degree rain. So even though we're handcuffed, we just don't know how handcuffed, right? Because we beat like a dead horse. We still got days left in the week, but it's not impossible, right? It's not like Green Bay's coming in here and they're just gonna, stomp us, or the Ravens are coming in here, or even the Steelers, AFC North.
Right.
There's no question in my mind that we played someone like that with all these guys down. It doesn't matter. It's an AFC North game. We're not winning that game. But this, if it stays the way it is, and maybe we get one more back, two more back, I think we'll be okay. I mean, I'm not thrilled about it by any stretch of the imagination, but it's possible that we'll hold our own, especially with the way the defense is playing. I mean, all of a sudden, now we're starting to start getting, we're starting to see the turnovers.
Yeah.
We were, the cupboard was bare right up until the Ravens game, the first Ravens game.
Yeah.
We figured we get 4 picks, and then we come into this one, and Miles gets the strip sack and he gets the touchdown, and then we had the turnover down, in the other end zone on the opposite side of the dog pound.
Mm-hmm.
So the defense is starting to sniff the ball, and they're starting to get it. So there's no better time than now to start being ball hawks. That's for sure.
Yeah, for real. Is there was a question in the chat? Is Newsom back?
Not yet. From everything I'm hearing, I'm not sure that we're going to see him this
What
weekend.
about Schwartz?
That's another peculiar case. Haven't heard anything.
Anything on Harrison Bryant?
Bryant practiced. Well, he would have practiced today. I don't know. I don't know what went on at the walkthrough, but he was scheduled to practice, and so is Ronnie Harrison. So you figure we've got. I mean, if you look at the offensive side of the ball, right? As doom and gloom, we lost. You know what I mean? No Landry, no Hooper. You get Njoku back. You get Bryant back. So far, DPJ is okay. Uh, Richard's not done much, but he's a reliable guy when called upon. Uh, you got Chubb, you lose Hunt, but I mean, the Ernest is no slouch. And Case Keenum, I mean, he can get the job done. So if it stayed the way it is right now, if you look at that offensive line, I mean, as funny as this may sound, Treader, Batonio, Hance, Dunn, and Hudson, it's kind of better than a lot of
Oh,
offensive lines in the league,
yeah, for
So
real.
it's I don't it's not ideal. There's no question about it, but they can win the game.
Yeah. I think we can. I think this is probably going to be one of those games that, similarly to the playoff game, where the team got together and said, guys, every card has been stacked against us. Every card's been stacked against us. And we have a team coming in here that is, probably smelling blood because they're like, okay, guys, we still have a chance here. We're not eliminated either. We have a chance to strike back. And I think what we're going to see this weekend on Saturday is a resilient team that's going to come out and fight their tail off because they
Yeah,
know they got 14 guys that are sitting home with little to no symptoms who are not allowed to play in this game that are watching the game. Similar to like Stefanski when he was watching in his basement. We have a team that wants to win this for those guys.
yeah. And you go back to that Jet game, right?
Mhm.
They were down a whole position group. It's hard to come back from that, right? But one receiver here, one tight end there, one running back there. It's doable, right? The most not ideal portion of all of these injuries
Mhm.
or COVID uh, protocol, I should say, is the offensive lineman. Really, if you ask me, I mean,
Yeah.
Hooper's going to hurt in the run game, but I don't think you know the other tight ends are more than enough serviceable to go out and catch the football. Like I said, he hurts in the run game, but I mean, if I gave you the option, right, that you would still lose Landry, right? You would lose Baker, but you would have your full complement of offensive linemen with Chubb and Dearness back there. You'd probably be okay with that against the Raiders, wouldn't you?
I mean, I wouldn't be. I mean, it depends on what the other option is. What's the other?
Or the other option is no offensive lineman, and you could have Jarvis and Baker.
No offensive lineman?
Well, no
I
Wills,
mean,
no, yeah, just not your starters.
well, and here's the beautiful thing about us this year with the premium PFF stats. Jedrick hasn't had a good season. He's
No, you're not wrong
he's
there.
played average, and there's been how many games if we have to look back on it that Blake Hance played better than Jed. A
Yeah,
guy named Blake off the street playing better than a first round draft pick. That's pretty impressive. Okay. And then you've got Hudson coming in there who was really impressive last week again, right? And then you've got Jed who's being played average at best this year and working through the injury. And like he's not 100%. We all know that. But average at best this year. Jed's in commercials with Baker. Jed's out there complaining about the fans on Twitter, doing all that kind of stuff. Or you have a guy who's just showing up and playing.
no,
Who's not making first round pick, bank. And that I think is rubbing. There's plenty of people that's rubbing the wrong way. When you're showing up like that. So I think
you want to laugh.
Jed needs to be held accountable.
So here's one for you. So Hudson let up no pressures last week, right?
Okay.
Him and Hance are at the bottom of the offensive grades, 19 and 20, a 44.5 and a 43. Hudson with a 28.7 run block rate, right? Hooper at a 52.9 at 17. Speaking of the tight ends. Miller Forrestal had a better grade at tight end. A lot less snaps, but still. Jed was 7th at a 67.5. He had an 89.7 in the pass block game, which that might be his best pass blocking game of the year.
Easily.
You got Batonio at 2 with a 91.8, and Treader was a 5. So
what was Wyatt?
Teller was 9th, 64.1, 82 pass grade. So Jed was, believe it or not, was the cream of the crop last week as far as pass blocking goes.
Yeah, I mean, good for Jed. That was a good game, but the bottom line is like he hasn't been spectacular.
Oh yeah, overall for the year, yeah, I agree.
Yes, but his body of work has been, you know, in a lot of cases questionable. Now again, like I like Jed, and you know I think he's a good player, and I think he's got a lot of potential. But I mean, the bottom line is you're going to go out there and call out fans. You're going to go out there and do all this stuff. Like go out there. Is Tristan Wirfs in Progressive commercials?
No, he's just crushing it.
Is Becton in Progressive commercials? So it's like do something. Be quiet. Don't tweet. Don't Instagram. Just play football. Collect your $1 million. Play football. Be quiet. Like that's it, right? When you're putting up mediocre numbers, and you're calling out fans, like that's going to rub people the wrong way. So
yeah, and one of the guys that's out that I feel is going to hurt, and he had a real tough time of it for a while this year, and then he found his way, and he's been playing really, really well, and that's JJ the third. He came in third this week.
Yeah, he's been playing better.
Yeah, with a 73.2, 83.5 tackling, 66.7 cover. So I mean, he's really played. He's played well. So you're gonna look to see. And again, he might. There's been a whole thing going on about JJ the 3 too, the third. For a long time, it was known that he was unvaccinated. Then I was told that he is vaccinated. And I know other people that were also told the same, but nobody knows like definitive. Like I trust my source, but I'm leaning towards that's accurate and he is vaxxed. So the point being is, there's a chance that he can still make the game, but it's going to be tough if they don't change any of these protocols and being a Saturday game. It's yeah.
How many people are getting COVID multiple times?
Yeah, well, I mean, look at
because Jedrick, or I'm sorry, Jarvis wasn't Jarvis out last year for the Jets.
He was just a close contact because he was in the hot tub with BJ Goodson,
and they kept him out of the game anyway.
Yeah, because last year the close contact, you were done. Like if you were an immediate close contact.
It's just insanity. It's like there isn't, and then they can't go back to no fans. They can't take the fans out of the stands. They can't go to a bubble. You can't do a bubble in football. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the situation is. I think everybody's got to stop with the insanity, and whatever rules that they have aren't working either. It has to be adjusted. There's no reason why they can't adjust these rules on the fly. There's no reason. Like, why can't they can't look at information and then make a decision that is best for all parties, right? And let's now do this. Let's say, Mike, that the Raiders had 14 players out on COVID, including their starting quarterback. How would we feel going into this
Oh my
game on
God,
Sunday?
this whole show would have been totally different. We'd all be giddy that we're not losing that game, and we're upward and onward to Green Bay to make some magic happen, right? If we're all being honest, that's exactly what we would be saying right now.
I think you're right, but I think I would feel deeply. I'd really feel bad for the Raiders, or just like when Lamar Jackson got hurt. I felt bad for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, but I don't know. They're 6-7. I mean, they're spiraling out of control. So I don't know if I would be as upset for them just because they're going to wind up being a bottom feeder.
Yeah.
Now, if they were in the actual hunt and were playing good football, then I'd probably say, man, it's a shame. But maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, I try to look at it like this. I think that sports are if we're gonna take advantage of teams that have like this much, unluck, it's not like a player getting injured. This isn't an injury thing. This is something that is temporary. That a game could be moved to help facilitate that temporary measure. Now, here's the other thing. Okay, what happens if the NFL steps in and says, you know what, you're right, we're going to move the game. They move the game 2 weeks from like the week of Christmas. We play twice. The week after we play Christmas, and then we play the week after Christmas. Like we play Christmas, we play Wednesday, we play Sunday. So it's like boom, boom, boom. We're just playing football nonstop every day.
Just had the bye week. They're fresh.
You're playing football, right? Okay. And then on the bye week, or on the week where we're supposed to play the Raiders again, 10 more players get 10 more players test positive. At what point does it stop? Like, at what point do they go, okay, I guess we're going to postpone it? Like, you can't keep postponing things because, you have the Super Bowl is set, the playoffs are set. Like, there's only so much time you could do stuff. Plus, I mean, you have to prepare for games. Football's not like baseball where you can just like you can play a game of baseball 2, 3 games a day. It won't matter. Football, like, these guys are beating the hell out of each other. Right? So at some point, it's like a safety issue as well, not only for their body but their mind from the concussion stuff. Right? Taking those poundings like every couple of days is a dangerous thing. Some would argue even too dangerous to even do in the first place.
I won't even go here, but that's an argument that I always get fired up about. And the only reason I do is because you make a lot of money, you choose to do that. And in turn, because of all these advances in health, etc., two of the most exciting, what should I describe them, plays, if you will, to me that were always extremely exciting were the kickoff and the punt return. And they've neutered that. I think somebody returned a punt the other day. I'm trying to remember what team it was.
Yeah, I was watching that
It was
game.
the Bears.
The Bears.
It was the Bears.
Yeah. It was like, oh my God, somebody returned a punt.
That was the first punt return of the year. It's freaking week 14, right? So I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I always go on a soapbox for that.
I think on punts and punt returns, there should be 10 men on the field.
That'd be interesting,
right? So instead of or maybe 9, right? Take 2 players off the field for each team. That would add a level of interest to that play.
Well, if you added players to the field, we would be okay. I mean, we're good at that, right?
Yeah. You saw McNeil's tweet today, ref log, where he was like, well, the good news is it's going to make it harder for the Browns to put 12 players on the field.
Huh.
I mean, it's craziness, man. Like, I didn't put any topics up today because I knew we were going to be talking about COVID and I knew we were going to be able to get through everything. But I think today it's a crazy, crazy day. It's a crazy time. And, you know, I don't know, man. I mean, I still think we win this game. My gut is telling me we win the game. We come together as a team. You know, we have our win it for the Gipper moment. We have another USA hockey moment, and we say we're going to go out, and it doesn't matter how much they kick us in the face. We're going to win this game, and they're going to go out and they're going to do it. They still have Nick Chubb. They still have, they still have players. They still got Miles. They still have some of the most dangerous players in the league, and they have guys on the offensive line they're not journeyman offensive line. They have guys that want to make a team and be on a team for the long haul.
Hey, we're getting teased in the chat.
Oh no,
Did you see why?
no. What happened?
Because we still have week 14 and the Ravens up.
Oh, well, sorry about that, guy. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I mean, this is what happens when I'm in my remote studio. I don't have the ability to make these changes on my own. Actually, I probably do, but
what happens is
people are going to be real confused when they see this later. Let's just leave it at Ravens. We play Ravens twice in a row. Why not 3 games?
Yeah, why not?
We're recapping week 14.
That's it. And you get the Ravens logo, but you get the guitar in the background. So it's a trade-off.
I mean, should I break it out and start playing some Wonderwall or what?
Is it hooked in there, or is it just like on a wall mount music stand?
It's just a wall mount.
So like you could just just go in there and pick up the guitar and just start serenading yourself.
We can do it.
Oh boy, look what I've done. Look what I have done. Here he comes. Who knew that you guys were going to get music tonight? Now he better wash his hands after that, or he might get COVID.
People outside are like, "What the hell are they doing?" Actually, some dude playing guitar in there.
You go to the open mic night.
Oh. All right, guys. This is one super chat. Larry Kirk
super chat. Larry's challenging you.
5-minute studio. Okay, here we go.
Oh, I thought you put it back. I didn't even realize you were just getting comfortable.
I'm in this chair. I'm not comfortable in any way possible.
And I don't know if anybody saw, but he just put his guitar face on. So it's about to get real.
Here we go. Ugh.
I'm not well. That didn't start out well. This is going to turn into like some requests. Ooh, we're getting singing too.
We've got COVID today.
Oh, this is something.
Get out of the way. Because we're playing the Raiders, we're not afraid to say, yeah.
Don't let me go get my bongos. That might have been the best 42 seconds of the podcast ever. The only thing that would make that better is if I knew for sure that your dad was still on here. And he's not. He's probably in bed by now. But
he's gone.
That would have been.
He checked if we did the PFFs. He said, "I'm out, guys."
Yeah, and little does he know, I somehow snuck those in out of nowhere. Like that was like an incognito kind of run through the PFFs.
Yeah. It was. We got him in. Well, at least we got him in on the offensive side.
It was like a sneak attack. Like before you even knew what was happening, I was rolling through the PFF score.
Yeah,
And then because I rolled through them so quick, we got an impromptu concert
we did. Yes.
where
Uh,
where I
it,
where I played the cowbell
I
on the water bottle.
I haven't played guitar. I haven't actually sat down and played guitar in months. Like I was, but I got here and I saw it and I was like, oh my God, they put a guitar in the room. That was nice of them to do. And I tuned it and I was like, yeah, well, I think later on after I've had a bunch of drinks, I'm gonna come back in. I'm gonna, start rocking a little bit.
So this, so what we just witnessed was like you were just getting your fingers loose. It was like a little.
This is my first live
It was a little more.
performance
That is your, yeah.
quite a while. Um, yeah, no,
I
I mean,
enjoyed it. I got to tell you, I enjoyed it thoroughly.
hey man, I appreciate it. And this is the action on this thing. Yeah, this is like, I mean, we're talking
Is it down real low on the frets?
lot of pressure. You got to put a lot of pressure. My
Oh
hand,
boy, it's
my
too
fingers
high
are
off.
they're already hurt. No, but it's pretty cool. This is a cool hotel. This is a cool place. Nashville's fun. Outside, I'm on the Moxie, so like I'm right in front of the Johnny Cash Museum.
Oh, nice.
So literally right down deep into the strip, and
So
I'm gonna go meet up some coworkers after this and
so
hang
you're
out a
all
little
set,
bit.
Mike. If you go in the closet and the case is in there, you could go out front, bring the case. You may, I mean, you maybe you make a little spare change.
I absolutely could. I don't think that there is no closet in this room. Um, it is yeah. There's no closet here.
That's
There's just
bizarre. You
it's a
hang your
it's
shirt off the guitar. Like, what do
it's
you do?
there's pegs. Like right in front of me. There's some pegs that
Huh.
you can see. It's a very small room. But it's you're discounting the convenience. But and Larry Kirk coming through again with a super chat. Play
Larry.
some Luke Combs South on you. I don't know Luke. I don't know a lot of my all my guitar stuff comes from the '90s. It's all like '90s stuff.
Except for that little ditty that you just wrote about COVID.
Exactly, which is pretty terrible. Bear Kincaid is currently like he just got like a shock feeling. He's like, what's going on? Somebody's destroying Brown songs.
Do we still play that song in the beginning?
Oh, yeah, we play three of them.
We do play
Not for
three?
not for the Wednesday show because we get into the Wednesday show too quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
But pre game show, I play all three.
I
Yeah,
enjoy that. Fires me up.
yeah. All
Yeah,
three of them go
yeah, I
there.
like it.
But yeah, all of my stuff is like Dave Matthews Band, Alice in Chains,
Hey,
Oasis, Radiohead. That's what I grew up on.
speaking of concerts, I got tickets for Laura and I for uh, the the extended version of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where we're gonna go see the Foos in
Ooh,
Philly in July. And then a little fun fact for you: uh, Lane Staley OD'd on the bus that I was on when I was on tour.
wow.
He didn't die on in that particular instance, but he did OD on that bus.
Yeah, that guy. I mean,
They're all gone except
one
for
of
Eddie
one of
from that grunge era.
yeah, yeah. Wyland's gone. Kirk's
Yep.
gone. Yeah,
Uh,
a lot of them are.
Soundgarden,
Oh
Chris
yeah,
Cornell's gone.
Cornell.
Yeah, all of
Yeah,
them.
it's so weird.
Lane. Yeah, Eddie. And you know what's funny? If you think back, not to totally turn us around into a music show, but if you think back, and especially for me, I mean that like I grew up on that. Like I was in high school when grunge came out,
Mhm.
and we thought that if anybody was going to pull a Jim Morrison, it was going to be Eddie. Like if you told me back then that Eddie Vedder would be the one that's standing at the end,
Yeah,
I would have thought you were crazy.
yeah, and like all of the members of Pearl Jam are going strong. You
Yeah,
know, really. They yeah, I've seen Pearl Jam.
great show.
I think I've only seen Pearl Jam one time, and it was like a limited set list at Tibetan Freedom Concert.
From Max's
I've never seen
wallet
it.
to God's ears.
$5 for five guys to come back from COVID before Saturday for the Raiders
I
game.
hope you're listening, God.
Dude, Please, please use this donation wisely. Please, God, give us five guys back.
Hey, I haven't put any little mics on the screen. That's why
Yeah,
I paid for this thing,
we
right?
gotta get some mics up in the chat.
Come on.
I do like the new overlay, the new super chat, like it plays the music, ding 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 ling, and then we had the super chat come through. Our usual super chat was just like, Browns oriented, but I'm gonna try to keep it more thematic. We've got the mini mics in the chat.
I had to throw them in there.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, we probably should cut it a little bit short. What time is it in the East Coast right now, Mike?
It is 8:53.
8:53. Okay. Um, I have it's 7:53 here in Central Time in Nashville, and I've got to go meet up with some coworkers to talk some shop. That's why I came up here to Nashville. So unfortunately, got to cut it a little bit short. But I want to say thanks everybody for hanging in with us. Max Nikolenko, Larry, everybody for the super chats and everything like that. You guys are awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks so much. Um, and makes up for like, oh, you know what we got to do, Mike?
Oh,
We got to
we
do
almost
we got
forgot.
to do the mug giveaway.
Yeah, we almost forgot.
Oh,
Man.
goodness, who wants a mug?
And the
Um,
odds are better right now.
1 to 100. Almost didn't give it for the mug.
Wow, the Cavs are up 100 to 63. I got to tell you, as you're doing this mug thing, as great as the Browns game was on Sunday, the Cavaliers game stole the show on Saturday night. They went on the most memorable minute 30 run that I've ever seen live before.
Wow. Yeah, put your numbers in chat right now, guys. 1 to 100 for the mug. I have my number in. Um, so get your numbers in now. I almost forgot to do the Victory Monday mug. God, so thrown off.
Well, to your defense, we should be giving out Thermaflu.
Yeah, for real. Give out Thermaflu, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, Z-Packs. Just give
And anything we
vitamin
can do
D,
to help
zinc.
to do our part. You know
Yeah.
what? I do for years and years and years. And it's funny because they say zinc and vitamin D is is good naturally for to build your immune system, whatnot, to stuff like COVID. And Laura and I have been taking zinc and vitamin D every night, along with our multivitamin stuff for
Yeah.
years and years and years and years.
I've been taking lots of vitamin D and zinc ever since, actually before my wife got COVID in August. So July I started I would always take it, but I wasn't always like regimented with it. And then I started taking it, and then I've been very religious with taking it. Um, Vitamin D and zinc daily in the mornings. So getting closer, guys. We're probably going to wrap it up here in a second. I'm going to give everybody about 30 more seconds before to put their number in for one
Hey,
to
text me
100.
the number. I like to see. I like to scroll up to see
Oh, you want to see it? Okay.
who's going to be the winner. Ryan said Ravens logo and almost no mug giveaway, but at least we got some guitar.
Yeah, we did.
All right, let me look up here. Let's see who's it gonna be. This is exciting. Ooh. Right now there's one person that's pretty damn close.
We've got one person. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're gonna call it. That was at least 30 seconds, right?
Yep.
So the number was 14. Symbolically, I would have thought somebody was going to come through with the 14. So it looks like Cleveland BCI wins, right?
Yep.
Cleveland BCI with the win. BCI, shoot me a email to browniepostgame@gmail.com, browniepostgame@gmail.com with your address, my man.
And maybe he could be drinking.
Well, name and address too, because I can't. They're not going to send it to Cleveland BCI. I think Cleveland BCI has won in the past, so I might have his stuff. But BCI, definitely send me your stuff so I can get you that mug. And I bought somebody a mug. I bought somebody a mug yesterday, just out of the goodness of my heart because I was feeling good,
Oh,
before
I
all this
saw
COVID
that.
happened, before all this COVID stuff happened. So, but like I said, you do good stuff, and sometimes the karma comes back. We had a whole bunch of great super chats, so we're
Yeah.
making the money back for the mugs. So it was good, right? Yeah, Larry, he's like, I paid for 6 mugs tonight. There you go, Larry. Instead of doing your super chats, you should just join the channel. Become one of our members. Help us get to our goal of 50, and then you get access to all the cool emojis too, and your name shows up in green. So,
I
can
mean,
can
look at those. Look at
I
those
would
beautiful emojis.
I'd much rather have people who are subscribers to the channel than people that are coming through with super chats, because then you actually get something beyond just the super chat, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you get to use the emojis and you get your name in like David Smith there. There you go. Is it like was it super delayed or something? Like I always feel like there's something like sometimes where like people come in like way late. Um, but I don't know. But guys, thank you very much for joining tonight. I know we were a little bit somber in the beginning, a little salty, and talked about vaccines and COVID for too long. But I appreciate everybody hanging in there with us and enjoying this. There we go. Larry, now we came in with a tier
Boom.
one. Larry, there we go, man.
Larry
Hold
is
on.
closing out the show with a bang.
All right, I gotta add him to the bottom to the scrolling text. Larry Kirk. Let's get you in there.
Let's see him scroll on
Larry
by.
Kirk.
I hope so, Max.
Thank you very much, Larry. You are the man. And Larry's in there with tier one. He is our 17th guy. We're getting closer.
Love it.
Welcome to the Brownie Post Game member family, my man. Thank you very much, Larry. Um, okay, guys, that'll do it for tonight. Thank you very much. I'm gonna try to download this and get it up to all the podcast channels at some point. Hotel Wi-Fi is gonna be tough, but when I get home tomorrow, hopefully I'll be able to get that thing going. So you'll be able to listen. Obviously, you'll be able to listen to the VODs as well. Thanks for hanging in there with us, guys, and we'll see you. We'll see you Saturday.
Hopefully, some good news.
Or, yeah, hopefully good news. Talk to you then, guys. Go Browns.
See you guys. Go Brownies.